Duke is upset as well. But let's go ahead and take a deeper look at this bracket as we look at our unstoppable performances presented by Ram Trucks. And I want to know who you guys think are some of the most unstoppable units in the playoff field. Could be backfield, could be secondary, could be front seven. Maddie, we'll start with you. Who is your most unstoppable unit?
Most unstoppable unit in the college football playoff is the Texas Tech front seven. David Bailey, Romello Height, Anthony Holmes, of course Lee Hunter there on the interior, but it's the linebacker unit as well to go with it, right? With guys like Curry, the MVP of the game, Ben Roberts from a day ago, and the Mustachio himself and Jacob Rodriguez.
That's right.
Number 1 in total defense in the Big 12. Number 4 in pass defense in the Big 12. Number 1 in rush defense, only allowing 64 yards per game. And then, of course, number 1 in scoring, only allowing 10 points per game the entire season. This defense is one of the best units in college football right now, one of the more underappreciated units. They don't do a lot of flashy stuff on defense. It's a 4-man rush consistently. They play a lot of zone, but they play fast, they play physical, and they match up well against everyone in the field.
Most historic season ever in the history of Big 12, you think, Trevor, what we just saw from Texas Tech?
Well, they've got a chance. I mean, certainly the new Big 12, because we had Texas and Oklahoma doing big things before.
Yeah, right.
But I think looking forward, people thought that the Big 12 would be a nice league with pretty good teams, but didn't have that one team to rise above. Texas Tech right now has a chance to prove that the Big 12 does have at least one team that can compete at a national level.
Yeah, they've shown if you invest in your team, they are going to be able to.
Right.
Of course, coaching matters, chemistry, and all those things.
Yes,
but
sir.
If you invest in your program, good things do come from it. And I love what I'm seeing from Texas Tech. Now, my unstoppable performances / unstoppable team will be the Ohio State wide receiver corps. Jeremiah Smith is not only the best wide receiver in this country, but he's one of the best players in the country. And this guy's only a sophomore. If you look at what he's doing, you see some of the stats on the bottom of the screen: 90 receiving yards per game, 11 touchdowns, 7th in FBS. But then you got Carnell Tate, who, mind you, from a pure wide receiver standpoint, I look at Carnell Tate sometimes as better at that position than Jeremiah Smith is. Obviously, he's a little bit older, and he has more experience in that department. But both of these guys are top 5 in the Big Ten in receiving. You got over 1,000 yards on the year for Jeremiah Smith, and you got over 800 for Carnell Tate. And then Brandon Innes, he's also another guy at the wide receiver, and the third one who has shown potential to be able to take the mantle when it comes down to next year. So I think this wide receiver corps is really impressive, one of the most unstoppable in the country. And then you have a QB in Julian Sain who's really accurate, can get them the ball. I think what we saw in the Big Ten championship game is a defensive front that was able to get after Julian Sain. He had only been sacked 7 times the entire season leading into the Big Ten championship game, and then he was sacked 5 times in that game. So Indiana proved himself to have one of the most dominant fronts. But if you're able to get the ball to this wide receiver corps, they are the most dangerous one in the country.
Ohio State better this year than they were last year, in your opinion, Trev?
I think they are. And the biggest reason is I think that at quarterback, Julian Sain is better than Will Howard last year. Will Howard last year, a senior who's in the NFL right now, and Julian Sain today is better. He's more accurate, especially at the deep balls. I mean, Sain, his completion percentage on balls thrown at least 30 yards downfield is around 70%. Ooh. Think about that. That's just insane. Crazy. And with those receivers down there to catch it, he's incredible.
So we've got the Texas Tech defensive line, very expensive. We know those wide receivers at Ohio State are expensive. So what expensive unit are you going to go with for your unstoppable unit, Trevor?
Well, I don't know how expensive this is, but I'm going to go with Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss. He's the transfer from Division II Ferris State, and he ends up starting in the SEC, and he's been fantastic. I mean, he went to Oklahoma, one of the best defenses in the country. Yep. Beat them with a QBR of 92.3 out of 100. Then against Georgia, again on the road, he had a QBR of about 91 out of 100. Georgia could not stop Trinidad Chambliss, and they may face each other again in the playoff as time goes on and if things go well. But so far, all the talk has been about the quarterbacks at Ohio State and Indiana and Oregon, but it's Trinidad Chambliss who's the last guy that I want to meet because of his dual threat playmaking ability.
And you're concerned with just Charlie Weiss now being the offensive coordinator without Lane Kiffin. How does that affect Trinidad Chambliss?
I don't think it affects him at all. I think his main relationship was with his offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss Jr. And Charlie Weiss can call the plays in the same way that he would with or without the input of Lane Kiffin. So I don't think that'll really matter. And the truth of it is, I think that there's 2 kinds of players at Ole Miss right now. I think one of those kinds of players is players that want to stick it to Lane Kiffin because he left.
Right.
The other kind are the players that want to show Lane Kiffin he should bring them with to LSU. So I think you're going to see the best out of Ole Miss.
Chambliss may be not expensive now. He's about to be pretty expensive going forward. So we
yes.
can add him to that,
100%.
to that group. Skubie,
And you brought it up a couple of times because Trinidad Chambliss is going to be going against Tulane. In their game against Tulane, he absolutely tore them apart. 307 yards passing, 14 carries for 112 yards. So you talk about dual threat. That was one of his best dual threat performances of the entire season, and one of the best performances that we have seen from a quarterback this season. So Trinidad Chambliss, it has been such a phenomenal story. A D2 guy coming in, he was in the Heisman conversation, and to play at this type of level when he was brought in just to be the backup. And now we're talking about him being one of the most unstoppable players in the country.
we will see what happens in that game. It was also one of the better defensive games that we saw Ole Miss play throughout the entire course of the season.